listeners, episode 19, Paul Rush, Augusta Rental Homes. This episode is going to be full of experiences. A true Augusta local. Just found out he was the starter of 80 Pie here at AU. He started the whole thing apparently, right? I'm getting some looks. Folks, if you're interested in rental properties, investing, property management, knowing what it's like to be a landlord, this episode is for you. Check in now.
We've got all these people moving from cities into our town. I can probably be a millionaire in just a few days' time.
Wow, wait!
Now, whatever you do, don't tell anybody. If anyone else finds out about this, they'll all want to be real estate agents too.
What do you think when you hear the words real estate? Well, welcome to the Market Shakers Podcast, a real estate podcast of Matt Kelly and friends, where we are committed to explore exactly what real estate should mean to you. And we are back, episode 18, I think it is. 18, the big 1-8. First time meeting you, Paul Rush, Augusta Property Rentals, Augusta Rental Properties?
Augusta Rental Homes.
AugustaRentalHomes.com. Big things. You're a local Augustan here. Graduated from AU.
Yep, born and raised in Augusta.
2009, I think it was.
2009, and then graduated from high school in Westminster.
Okay, rock and roll, and that would have been
2007.
07. Okay. So we're a Jaguar.
Jaguar.
Good. It was 2009. Was that the year? Was that close to when we went back to back on the golf team?
It definitely was around that time. It was also around the time where it was called like Georgia Regents and something else for a minute. So like I don't even really know where I graduated from, but it was on Walton Way.
That was quite a interesting time period in that university. Yep. I still don't understand the whole Regents thing, but I'm glad we got over that real quick.
Yep. Me too. We've come a long way.
You've never seen that many road signs and bumper stickers and those like what changed the A or
save the A or
Save
something like
the
that.
A.
Right.
Oh,
Rallying
man.
around the cause right there. That was well spent.
Oh my gosh. So Augusta Rental Homes, 2014, you started this business.
Yes.
So who are you? Tell everyone here who are you and why maybe I thought it was a great idea to bring you on today.
Yeah, well, it was a great idea. So my name's Paul Rush. I am 35 years old, born and raised in Augusta, like we said. Who am I? Let's see. I got married last year, so I have a wife now. I actually have 2 kids now as well. So big changes last year. So graduated high school from Westminster.
Okay.
I actually got a business and Spanish degree at Mercer University and then my MBA at Augusta University.
Okay.
We're just talking about that. And then I was doing real estate. So a friend of mine told me to read a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. He was a real estate agent and flipped houses. And I was like, read the book, was on fire about that. I was like, let's go flip some houses.
Mm-hmm.
I did that for a while. It was a lot of fun. But eventually I started realizing that maybe I should buy some rental properties and collect rent and try to own real estate long-term instead of just short-term buying and selling.
Okay.
So I started doing rental houses probably in 2015, and my company, Augusta Rental Homes, came about actually as a front for.
Okay.
I owned the houses, but I told people that I worked for a company called Augusta Rental Homes. I went on the website called Fiverr and paid $5 for a logo, and now I've got a business, and so
I love it.
It was great. So people thought that I was working for a company. It was just me, but I did that because. They wouldn't ask for as many favors if they thought I worked for a company as opposed to me owning the houses.
Don't let them know that you're the landowner.
Yeah, exactly.
Landlord.
Exactly. So, I got this company set up and I continued to buy rental properties, and then over time it's evolved into a business that actually is legitimate.
Okay.
We've got employees. We manage properties that I own and for other people. Our team is 22 people, and we manage about 750 units here in the Augusta area.
Wow. Do you know where you stack up compared to other management companies in the area?
That's a good question. Not really. There's definitely companies that are bigger than us, but I would say we're probably size-wise, in the top 5.
Yeah, in less than 10 years.
Yeah, in less than 10 years.
That's pretty
it's been
cool.
a lot of fun. Yeah.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
I know sometimes as a business owner, you hold yourself a little bit too accountable, maybe too hard on yourself, but that is really impressive.
Yeah,
and
thank
so
you.
I hope that it's good to hear every now and then.
It is good to
Because
hear.
you're probably, cause I'm just from personal experience, you may think you could do better,
Right.
and that's okay.
Correct. We're trying to do better, but I'm very happy with where we are right now.
Good. Now that's killer. So some personal things. I've been listening, and I have some questions now. So so you got married last year, 2 kids. You have twins? How'd that?
So Davis and Hudson. They're Davis. She is 8. She's in 3rd grade, and Hudson
Okay.
is 6. He's in 1st grade.
Okay.
So my wife from previous marriage had 2 kids. So,
Gotcha.
I am learning all kinds of stuff. I'm trying to learn 3rd grade math right now. I'm trying to understand what Minecraft is. It's a video game. I know that, and and also trying to be a good husband too at the same time. So
I love that.
Yeah, life is very exciting right now.
It's very new. You had to pick up a lot very quickly.
Yes, that's the way I like to do it, though. I mean, jump in the deep end. And
How long have you known your wife?
we met almost 3 years ago now, and
Okay.
she lived in Atlanta, and so I'll go ahead and answer the question. Funny story how we got introduced. A friend of mine that we met at Augusta State.
Okay.
My wife's a dental hygienist. He was getting his teeth cleaned, and they started talking, and he said, "You should meet my friend Paul." So Travis, that's my friend. He didn't have any cavities that day, and he made the best recommendation of his life for my wife to meet me.
Shout out
it
to,
all worked out.
Shout out to Travis.
Shout out to Travis.
Heck yeah, Travis. That's awesome. That is awesome. So yeah, it's always good when those things work out, and clearly it has. So
Yes.
that's really cool.
Working out great.
And you also mentioned you went to was a Mercer for business and then Spanish.
Business and Spanish.
So what was the thinking behind Spanish?
The original thinking behind it was the school makes you take an elective, and I had taken Spanish in high school, and I had placed out of the first level of Spanish, so I only had to take one more Spanish class to meet the requirements. And so I was like, this sounds easy, so I'll do that. And then the long version of it is the teacher that I had encouraged me to go study abroad in Spain
Okay.
the following summer. I said Spain sounds like fun, so I did that. And several Spanish classes later and a trip to Spain, fluent in Spanish.
Okay. Still fluent today.
Still fluent today.
We have a growing Latino population here that probably comes into use every now and then.
It comes in a lot of use. And so when I first started flipping houses, a lot of the guys that worked for me only spoke Spanish. So, I'm really glad that teacher encouraged me to go to Spain.
I find that that community too. We've done some business with the Latino community, and they run deep. You help out. They run deep, and they refer, and they're good people. They're good people to work with.
They're great people, and then there's a lot of them here in Augusta. So it's growing, like you said.
It's extremely significant.
Maybe you need to learn Spanish.
I probably should. I need to get the wheels. I was somewhat decent with German at one point, randomly
Really?
enough.
That is random.
Had an incredible teacher in high school who took me to Germany with our class. It was a whole thing. We won some competition in the state, and that basically sponsored a 9-day trip over there.
That's awesome.
And ended up being like, I think I was really nervous. I don't like asking for money. And my parents, I said, "Hey, can I get a $500 to go to Germany for 9 days?" And they said, "Oh yeah, dude, that's it. That's
Should ask for 1,000.
flight included and everything. I mean, it covered the whole trip. It was ridiculous." And they're like, "Oh yeah, absolutely."
Yep. I bet
Go.
that was a great experience too.
It was really cool. It's really cool. So, but you were in real estate. You got in. You were buying and flipping homes, correct? And you've done plenty of that. And so your company, you saw a need to really change how you're servicing your clients, your property owners, their portfolios, active reporting. Remember we talked on the phone about a month ago or so. So go into that a little bit more for me.
Yeah. So I did say this before. I mean, I honestly never pictured myself being a landlord or owning a property management business.
Okay.
I didn't know what I wanted to do when I got out of school, but I'm glad that I fell into this. So the thing that I don't like about what people assume when you have rental property or you're a landlord, they're like, "Oh, that must suck. You're always fixing toilets or, dealing with people that aren't paying rent, whatever. Like there's a bad, stigmatism about being a landlord." So, yes, it kind of sucks sometimes. And I mean, what job doesn't? But I've actually come to love it now because there's so much more than just fixing toilets and stuff like that. We get to help families find homes, right? And it's either people that already live in Augusta or right now, a lot of people that are moving to Augusta, and they find our website and they talk to people in our office, and I feel like we're able to provide great service to help people find great homes here in Augusta. And I really have started to enjoy that. We have a team around that enjoys it as well. And kind of one of our longer term missions is to change people's opinions about property management. And so, we want to be the company that always answers the phones, that sends our maintenance guys out there as quickly as we can to fix an issue. We want to help people move into houses, but also understand that they're not going to be with us forever, and they're going to move out, and make sure that they have a good experience on the back end as well.
Okay.
And yeah, it's totally different than what I thought I was going to do, but I love it, and I'm really glad that it's something that I fell into.
What is one? And I'm sure there's many, but what is unique to you and your company with like the way you manage and you handle things?
So I'll give you two things that's unique to us. One is we actually have a lot of on-staff maintenance guys. So
okay. I know there's like 4 or 5 you employ.
Yeah, we just hired our 6th maintenance person actually a couple weeks ago. So, and we did that because we want to be super responsive to things that come up. So with all the units that we have, I mean, we have at least a dozen maintenance things that come in every day. We've got a team that our goal is to go and take care of those things as quickly as possible. So I'd say that's number one on how we're maybe unique. There's other companies do have maintenance, but some don't. But the other thing is, because we are newer and haven't been around as long, I think that we have been quicker to adapt to some of the technology that's come our way.
Okay.
There's a lot of software out there with property management now, which makes it a lot easier. So, paying online applications, resident portals, all that kind of stuff we have. We do self-access viewings with showings, like all of the stuff that 15 years ago when there's file cabinets and paper and all that, we're a totally different company than.
Is that where you register and you get you pay like $1 and you can go walk to the property yourself?
Yeah, so you don't even have to, with our software, you don't have to pay $1. But I'll give you an example is we're trying to take property management into the 21st century. So there's things like Uber, DoorDash, and all these kind of things where, again, there's technology where I want somebody to give me a ride, but I want to watch on my screen where the car is and how long it's going to get here and then where it's going to go. So I was thinking, okay, well, showing houses, I used to go meet somebody at the house and they'd follow you around the house and give you a tour, and it's kind of awkward and they're asking all these questions and then somebody's late or somebody's got to go. And so that's how you used to do it. Now we have the ability to send somebody a link. They fill out their application, or not an application, but some information, uploads a picture of their driver's license, and then they can choose when they want to go look at the house. So now, between certain hours of the day and the weekends, you can go to a house that we manage on your own time, get access with the lockbox, look at it on your own. You don't have some awkward person showing you around, asking you weird questions. You can openly talk with your family or friends about the house and not be worried about what somebody else is listening to. And then, you lock the house up and you call us back later, and we'll call you back later and walk you through the rest of the process. But we're trying to do it on the resident or the applicant's terms, as opposed to, well, if you want to go see the house on Sunday afternoon, I'm busy. Yeah. The answer would have been no in the past.
Okay, I like it. So it's funny how how long have y'all been working that process? How long has this technology been with you guys?
That technology has been around. It's called Tenant Turner, is the specific software we use. It's been around for 6 or 8 years. We started using it probably 5 years ago. I think we were one of the first people in Augusta to do it.
Okay,
and as a company, we were a little nervous, like, oh, somebody's going to steal a refrigerator or, just move in. And that's never happened. We've rented, hundreds of houses since then, and it's never happened because, we still talk to the people and make sure that they're qualified and actually going to move. But we're taking it from the point of, this is what people want. If I was renting a house, this is how I'd want to do it. And so the technology's out there, and we were the first people to do it, I think, in Augusta. And now I feel like it's fairly common practice. And so, again, as a company, I liked being one of the first people that we were doing it with.
That is just, it's so fascinating, because when you bring that up, the first thing that comes into my mind is going to be how that parallels with the residential property space. This is a property that's owned by somebody, and a tourist goes through, and on the residential retail side, there's always an agent accompanying.
Yep.
It's a non-factor. I don't think I've ever had anyone actually suggest that we just let in fact, if I were to just send if I had a passcode or the lockbox code and I gave it to you, for example, to go look through a house by yourself without me,
Yep.
I would be fearing for my life if that listing agent found out.
Right.
It would be an absolute. I think there's rules actually, and it's very interesting because you found success with that.
Yep.
And it begs the question, if that could that work in a residential retail space where that instead of a potential renter, this would be a potential buyer, is looking at the home, and how it changes it if they're able to walk through it themselves without that realtor
Yep.
accompanying them, right?
Yeah. Well,
Something very
it
interesting.
might happen on your side soon or at some point. I'm glad it's happened on our side already because right now I think we currently have about 20 houses listed for rent, and that's anywhere from Grovetown to Hepzibah to Aiken. And at 2:00 in the afternoon, let's say, we could have people looking at all these different houses at the same time. Whereas before, to speak the obvious, to drive from Aiken to then go show a house in Grovetown would take 30 minutes. And
Yes.
now your leasing people are just wasting time driving around, between showings. Whereas what we've done is we have 2 leasing people that stay in our office all day. And when somebody calls asking about something for rent, we're going to answer the phone
because you're there.
we're in the office.
You're in the office.
We're not showing it to somebody else and don't want to be rude and answer our phone, or we're not driving. We're in the office to answer the phone, to provide service and schedule showings for people to do the viewings on their own time.
Okay.
And so it's allowed us to rent things quicker and scale by not having to be present at each house.
More efficiency. You're saving time there. You can spend more time building, and I love it.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. Good. One of the questions is as a business owner, profitability is a huge thing. So it's if you can pass along those savings to your clientele, you can obviously, but profits is a major marker and one of the reasons why we do business. But I do have a question about now that you're efficient. Oh man, I'm having one of my little tizzies where I just forget the question mid-sentence. Gosh, it
looks
so
like a good one.
I know. So we're talking about efficiency here. Oh, this is going to bother me now. I don't know what happened. I just blanked. It's not good. But you're being efficient. Here we go. So we're good now.
We're
back. Just happens, man. I don't know.
Don't lose
Can
again.
explain it.
This looks good. Let's go.
So inflation, right? Inflation in homes, home values, rent is going up. I think people complain about rent forever. I don't know if you remember the guy in New York with the mustache, the rent is too damn high guy.
Yep.
Do you remember that?
Yes.
Yeah, throwback. Gosh, I love that. That was so fun. That was like 2012, 13, 14. But are y'all seeing in the rental space, are y'all seeing the things kind of cool down a little bit, get back to a little bit of normalcy?
Yeah, I don't know what normal is yet, but
Anymore. It's
nobody
tough
knows
to compare.
what normal is.
Yeah.
But I will say, since I've been doing it, rents have increased tremendously. I mean, you've gone from 10 years ago, you could find a 3-bedroom house in Columbia County for under $1,000 a month, whereas now, I mean, if you can find something for under $1,300 a month, that's pretty rare find.
Doing great.
So there's been tremendous rental increase over the last several years. Today, I would say that the market has cooled down. We have seen rental prices come down some from the peaks of this summer and last year, and it's hard to say where they're going to go because this time of year, being January, is a slower time of year for renting houses. But the amount of inventory that's out there available for rent is more than I've ever seen too.
Okay.
So, I took a class
More than
called
you've ever seen since
forever.
Really?
So if you,
Okay.
since forever, right? you can kind of quote me on that. But if you go to Zillow, that's going to be your main source for like rentals instead of looking for sales or solds. Just turn on the for rent thing. And if you looked, if you just typed in Augusta for rent, you're probably going to see a little over 400 properties for rent in the Augusta, section on Zillow. You'll see about 100 to 130 in Grovetown. Those numbers are double what they were last year.
Wow. Okay. Now, why do you think that is?
I don't exactly know. Some of it, I believe, is houses aren't selling. So if somebody has moved and couldn't sell their house, they're going to call us to rent. There's, you read the headlines where people don't want to sell their house because they have a mortgage rate that's 3%. So they're going to hold on to it and rent the house. And then I think some of it, so the change on that side, and then just the not as many people are renting or maybe waiting to move out of mom and dad's house, or they're going to get a roommate. And so I think the number of potential renters out there has shrinked a little bit as well.
They've consolidated a little bit.
Yep. So we got some like supply demand kind of economic things going on, and I did not do very well in that class, but like there's some different things going on that is changing the market, and I'm excited about it, but I haven't actually seen this type of market. So I've got involved in real estate in 2010. The real estate market has been on fire, ever since then. Really started at the bottom. We might be at the top of a cycle, and it's going to be interesting to see what kind of changes come over the next little bit.
Okay. So with the one, I think one of the exciting just bits of news or information it's going to be interesting to be played. I have my opinions. I'm assuming you manage a few duplexes, triplexes, probably own some quadplexes. We'll talk about my 20-unit apartment complex. That's my end game goal.
Okay.
And I'll keep that under wraps as much as I can.
Sounds exciting.
We there's one right next to this house we bought, and that's my pie in the sky. I don't move in silence. I'm really terrible about it, but I want that one day.
Speak it into existence.
Yeah, I will. I tell everybody, please don't go buy it. I'm gonna be real sad. It'll be available in about 10 years. I'm figuring that out now.
I can buy it now and send it to you in 10 years. Sell it to you in 10 years. How about that?
Yeah. But triplexes and quadplexes, the lending requirements just kind of eased up on those.
Yep.
Not in terms of the red tape from the financial capabilities of people, but 20% to 5%.
As far as your down payment, you're talking about. Yes. So I've heard about that. And I think maybe one of the requirements is you have to live in the property for a second. I don't know for sure.
You do.
So
you have to occupy one of the units.
One of the 4 units, and then you can, which is fantastic. I mean, if I was starting out in real estate investing again, I would 100% do that. Go live in one side, rent out the other side, get a great mortgage on it.
Don't let them know you live.
Correct, right. Say that you're a renter as well for this other company. Like send the money to a P.O. box. Do something. Don't, they will knock on your door at midnight to fix something if you tell them that you own the place. So don't make that mistake. I've done it. But here's the thing. So I agree with the now people should go buy fourplexes, duplexes, whatever. The thing about Augusta is there's actually not a lot of fourplexes out there, which is very unfortunate. When I first started investing in real estate, I did buy a duplex, and I loved it because I was like, one mortgage, 2 tenants paying the rent. I was like, what are the chances that 2 people aren't going to pay rent at the same time, or one person moves out, the other person can help me pay the mortgage? It made me feel very comfortable with getting into investing. And so I was like, I need to buy more duplexes and fourplexes. But like, I drive all around town, and they're hard to find. So I don't know, maybe there's an area of town that I don't know about, and there's a bunch of them hidden somewhere. But if you could find one, definitely look into buying it. Especially if you want to get started in real estate investing, that would be a great way to go.
I just believe I have a, as far as it's ease of access, right? I just think that's going to be one of the best assets to own this year, to have ownership in, just from a because more people can do it now.
Yes. Well, yeah. I love real estate, so I'm going to always agree that real estate is one of the best assets to own.
We might be a little biased.
Yeah, I definitely am biased, but I think the fact that, when rules change like that to make it easier for people to get started in real estate, absolutely go for it, because that's the hardest part, too, is getting started.
Yep. Okay. Good. So that's a big thing. Augusta itself. So are y'all more focused on the Augusta market, Evans market, Grovetown?
We're
South
pretty
Carolina?
we're all over the place. So it was pretty cool one time. I put all the properties that we managed into like Google Maps, and there's dots everywhere. So like I said, anywhere from Aiken. If you were on I-20, you could go all the way to Aiken or almost to Thompson.
Okay.
And then you could go from Evans all the way down to Hephzibah. And we have properties and apartments all over the place.
Okay, I got it. So when you're managing these properties, what are some of the challenges, some of the biggest, maybe the most unexpected challenge? If someone were to say, "Hey, Paul, I'm looking to get into managing properties for other people," what are some challenges that you were not expecting up front?
Yeah. So, right, to be clear on that, we kind of have two customers in my business. We've got the residents that live in the house, and then we have the owners or the people that own the house. And so maybe your question is directed towards the owners. If you were to hire us as a property management company, what's been tough or what have I figured out? What do we like to tell people? One of them is it's great when residents are in there paying rent. Now, when they move out, there's going to be a cost associated to it. You're not receiving rent, but typically we want to go in there and paint, clean carpets, do some things to make sure that the property is in great condition again, to then get, good market rent for the next resident.
Right.
And then it's going to rent quicker if it's in great shape. But there's a lot of reasons to do that. Now, you as the homeowner or first time, renting something, you might not realize that to paint your house and do those things can cost some money. And so it is unfortunate your resident just moved out and now you have to spend, call it $2,000-$3,000 to get your house ready to rent again.
Wow.
So
that's 2 or 3 months of rent depending.
Correct. 2 or 3 months worth of rent. And so you've got to set that money aside while it's rented to then prepare for the upcoming vacancy because it's going to happen at some point. And that is the biggest thing there is because it's an asset. You want to make sure that you continue to reinvest in it and keep it going. And in the beginning, I saw some owners that really let their properties run down. And long term, if you want to be in it, you want to make sure that your rents are increasing over time, that your property is in good condition. And so it just can be expensive. So you got to make sure that you have the money to be able to afford to maintain your asset and keep going.
What kind of numbers, percentages, if you will? Let's just do a little quick case study. Yeah. So I'm renting a property from you for $1,000 a month.
Yep.
$12,000 a year.
Getting a good deal. Okay.
Yes, great. I'm just Superman. Yep. Superman real estate genius. I get the deals everywhere, right?
Yep.
But for the $1,000 a month, what are you putting away from that $1,000? How are you breaking that down from, assuming that assuming that you just have a, 23 out of 24 months, the property is rented for $1,000.
Right. So, okay, what are your expenses? So you're going to bring in $1,000. Since you've hired us, we're going to charge you a management fee.
I'm talking about, I'm the tenant.
Okay. You're the tenant.
I'm the tenant.
Okay.
And you're just the property owner.
Yep. Okay.
So you're the property owner. What are you doing? How are you taking my $1,000 and dividing it up?
So, great question. All right, so you've paid me $1,000, and of course you're paying on time every month, and you're a great tenant.
I'm the best tenant ever.
Best tenant ever. And so the first thing I would say is most people have a mortgage on their house, and so most of the time, first thing that money is going to go to pay the mortgage. Hopefully, there's money left over between the $1,000 and what your mortgage is. Okay. That's the first thing. So, and again, you're a great tenant. You're not in there breaking things or anything like that. We'll talk about maintenance in a second. But most people have a mortgage. The second thing that everybody has is property taxes. You have to pay that once a year. And then insurance is the second thing that everybody should have. So, again, that $1,000 house, that's low rent, but your property taxes, if I had to guess, is going to be between $1,200 and $1,800 a year. Okay. And then your insurance is probably going to be between $1,000 and $1,500 a year. You can do the head math and tell me what that breaks down to per month.
So let's just say you go from 12 to 10.
Okay.
10, 9.5, $9,500, not discounting. Without discounting mortgage.
Right, we've taken, so for the year, now you have $9,500. We're not talking about the mortgage. So after property taxes and insurance, your biggest cost is probably going to be maintenance. And maintenance is an interesting one. That depends on, maybe how old your house is or some of the major kind of mechanical stuff in the house. Common maintenance things for us would be small plumbing and electrical things or small HVAC stuff that's going to come up that might cost, less than $300 to fix.
Okay.
That's normal. And in our case, if we can send somebody out there and fix it and it costs less than, $300, that's a win. We ideally want it to cost about $150, but the less, the better. And then, every now and then you're going to have to replace a roof, HVAC, something that's really expensive. Those are hard to gauge when it's going to happen. But you're looking at $4,000 at a minimum for something like that to happen. So you're going to pray that those kind of things don't, come up.
So talking about maintenance. So if you go and Google just, a investment calculator, it's going to ask you a couple questions. And one of the questions is going to be, obviously, it's going to ask you for all the mortgage and stuff. But one of the questions is going to say, what is your 20-year budget for maintenance? I think you can, because it'll calculate out. So it'll say, what's your 20-year budget for maintenance?
Yep.
So if it's 20,000, you're assuming you're averaging 1,000 per year over the next 20 years. What in Augusta? What's your recommendation on that? How should I budget my 20-year maintenance costs?
I would say, I would challenge you and say you're probably not actually going to own that property for 20 years.
Fair.
Would be my first thing. But yeah, but also, if you're sitting here saying, "Hey, I'm never going to have a maintenance expense," you're fooling yourself, and you're going to get burned on. You're going to have a bad experience being a landlord. So I would say, I would say you're going to spend 15% of your rent over a long-term average on maintenance.
Okay.
And the caveat there is it depends on how old or new your property is.
Okay.
But yeah, maintenance is a big line item if you're doing real estate investment long-term. And then, there's the whole rule of averages where if you have one house, this rule probably doesn't apply. But if you had a larger group, it hopefully would even out over time.
Okay. And you mentioned old versus new there. So I think what the challenges with renting a 80-year-old property in downtown Augusta, asbestos, lead, just environmental hazards, piping, plumbing, electrical, things like that. That's kind of a given. But newer homes, right? Townhomes in Grovetown or Evans that can make a really good investment property. What are some challenges with a newer property that you might not expect?
So that is a good question. And because
good question.
yeah, I'm glad you didn't forget that one. Because we do manage houses that were built 2 years ago. Somebody bought it brand new and then they're moving. We hire us to manage. It's great because we're not having you're going to have to replace your roof or air conditioning conversation soon because they're brand new. Mm-hmm. But challenges that we're having there is, I want to see if I can have a good answer to your question. I'd say a couple things. Because it's new, you don't know what's going to come up. So a property that was built in the 70s for us kind of has a track record of having the same maintenance issues. Mm-hmm. So, and within certain areas of town or certain neighborhoods even, we manage, let's say 5 houses in the same neighborhood. And if we get a call and says, 123 Main Street has a plumbing issue, we might know that the house down the street around the corner had that plumbing issue 3 months ago or a year ago, and it might be the same issue where, for example, trees growing into the sewer lines and stuff like that. Older neighborhoods have those trees. So there's common issues within the same neighborhood. But a newer house in a newer development, it might be the first time that property or that area has experienced that problem.
That's
and so
yeah.
we would have to troubleshoot that a little bit more, which is fine. We can do that, but I don't want to say that new properties are a bad thing, but just some of the issues in the house might be the first time that we've ever encountered them.
So in a way, just harder to measure,
Yeah. So
account for.
Okay, I did think of a good answer for you on this. So a lot of the townhomes built in Columbia County have hot water heaters in the attic.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
New development. Let's put the hot water heater up in the attic. We have more room in the living area of the house. It's not in a closet or a laundry room. It makes perfect sense. Here's where it didn't make sense was last year when we had freezing temperatures for 2 days.
Oh, yeah.
And if there's a hot water heater in the attic, that means there's water lines in the attic. And when the water lines froze in the attic, the pipes burst above the living area and therefore, created a lot of water inside the living area. Whereas other houses, so that's maybe my good answer.
We had to deliver 2 different sets of bad news. It's funny you mentioned that. I got called. I probably had to go check on at least 8 different houses last December, January, whenever that was. Just randomly, like people, hey Matt, can you go by the house? Here's the code. We're out of town. We just started this news. I was like, I didn't get paid for this. It's ridiculous.
Right.
But we did it, and we found two of them ended up having some water issues. Yeah. So
it was a very exciting time for us last year when that was going on. And
man.
And yeah, every house is different. And like I'll tell you another example is certain houses that were built probably prior to 2000, the HVAC units are usually located in a hallway closet inside the house. And then newer construction stuff, they put the HVAC units up in the attic. And so every now and then condensation lines or stuff like that get clogged and will create leaks in the attic. And so, be the middle of summertime and a resident calls the office and says, my roof is leaking. And we're like, well, it hasn't rained in 3 days. How's your roof leaking? Well, it's actually the HVAC that's leaking and creating the water stain on the ceiling. But there's pluses and minuses to how everything was built.
What so this is kind of a personal experience question, but I'm curious to how this goes. So from a property manager perspective, you have dual climate control zones, right? And maybe the tenant feels like they're not upstairs often, and so they don't have that AC running upstairs. This leads to higher levels of humidity and more heat in the summer. And also now all of your cheaper vinyl interior doors, the paint's coming unglued and the doors are getting damaged. From a maintenance perspective, how do you deal with that kind of thing? Because it's the tenant's space, but they're actively creating damage to the property.
Yep. And some of that's not intentional on their part, right? So
right. They won't see it as intentional.
Yeah,
either.
It can make total sense. Hey, I'm going to try to save on utility bills by not running the heat upstairs, or shutting off vents in part of the houses, like whatever. There's all kinds of different things that in their mind could make sense that has negative actions towards the house. So what we're trying to do before we even go out there and fix the issue is more education on why things are like that. So, mold might be a common complaint. Well, mold is caused by leaks or water damage or not properly heating and cooling a house. And so what we're trying to do is educate people that live in the house. Here's what we need to do with HVAC systems. If there's leaks, let us know so we can fix them to prevent moisture and all that kind of stuff. And so being more proactive on it. Like, we understand you're trying to pay utility bills, but, did you actually know if you don't run your thermostat at a constant temperature, it's actually going to be less energy efficient to try and catch up to the temperature by leaving your AC off all day and like things like that. And so we definitely see a lot of it. With all the houses, we see all kinds of different issues in the way people live, and I think that the biggest thing we have to go back to is educating people on the front end, and then as we're going through properties, either doing maintenance or inspections, we address or inform the residents on things that they might not be aware that they're doing that's going to cause damage down the road. Okay.
So personally, from just a ownership management position of yours, where do you really like to be at? Where's kind of your buy box, your favorite little section of town? Where have you really enjoyed it and seen like a lot of success this past year?
Me personally, so I live in West Augusta. Our office is in West Augusta. I I don't like to drive very far, so I'm like a West Augusta, big time fan. It's close to Lowe's, like all that works for me.
It is, yes. Racking up the points.
So that's my choice. There's nothing wrong with that. So, but as far as like management, and like we have reasons for different things. I would say we're currently having a lot of success in Grovetown with some of these newer houses we've been talking about that have been great for us to manage. And I mean, just Augusta, kind of that works well where a military person hires us to manage their house because they're getting moved somewhere else. But as they're getting moved out of Augusta, the military's bringing in another person in Augusta. And so we get to manage their house. And a lot of times it's one military family moving out and another military family moving in. And those have been really fun for us to manage. As far as property types, I really enjoy buying apartment complexes.
Okay.
And because we manage both houses and apartments. But if you're looking to invest, if that was kind of your question around it, it's whatever's comfortable for you. Don't invest in what Paul likes, because that might not be what you know or what you are comfortable with. You might live somewhere else and that might be a far drive for you. I like it because it's close drive. But, that's what was comfortable for me, and that's why I started there.
What excites you about the larger multifamily apartment complex? Is it just the raw numbers get you excited, or?
That's a good question. I mean, when I first got started in real estate, apartment complexes excited me because it was a lot of units. I want to own more units. Apartment complexes have a ton. That seems like the easy way to do it. I've learned now, just because you have more doesn't always mean that's a good thing. But
interesting.
What I do like about apartment complexes is the units are the same. So the floor plans are the same, the size is the same. And what that means is if unit 1, 2, and 3 have the same floor plans, if you're moving out, we already know how much carpet it needs or how many gallons of paint it's going to need. And it's a consistent product that then we can go like duplicate. We know what we're expecting. Talking about maintenance issues, you're going to have a lot of similar maintenance issues in the same apartments because they're all built the same.
Is that why we're bringing on the extra gentleman?
Yes, right.
Number 6.
Yes, apartment, and so, but right, there's a lot of downsides to apartments. Is people typically don't stay in apartments as long as they do a house, so we're turning them over a lot more. I mean, landscaping challenges. There's more utility bills, all kinds of stuff with apartments. I like them. The other thing I like too is I studied finance in college, and the financing for apartments is pretty attractive.
Okay. How so?
So there's Fannie and Freddie Mae out there that are government programs that help with financing. Basically, the government wants to help encourage favorable financing for apartment owners, because then that's how they're helping, house people. So if nobody could get financing for apartments, that would probably make it harder for people to buy and sell. It might make it harder for people to, maintain and keep apartments. So the terms, the rates are pretty good. The amortizations are 30 years. And then the loans are a bigger size and typically non-recourse or other favorable terms that's attractive to myself and I guess other people like apartments.
Okay. What's one thing that I think if you ask me, one of the things that's kind of cool that's starting to take fruition these last really 2-3 years is we're pumping out of a lot of high density apartment space here in Augusta, and we've lacked that for a long time. Suburban sprawl here has been a huge thing. Columbia County, it's almost non-existent over there. They've done a few projects here and there, but we're really pumping out some high density housing out in this area.
Yes,
that's really good to see. From that perspective, what do you think about it? What do you think about the high density? What are some of the just give me everything you can think of.
Yeah. So me personally, I like it because I think that. I like it for a couple of reasons. As a company, we're able to offer all kinds of products because we manage all kinds of things from, houses, apartments, townhomes, whatever, 1 bedroom to 5 bedroom, we can offer it all. And I think that Augusta should have the same thing, right? We don't want Augusta just to be townhomes or, single family neighborhoods. We need apartments. We need all of it as a mix to then offer to everybody, right? And so I like it. I think, you know, a lot of it's being built right now. So I'm kind of curious. We're having a little bit of slowdown in our leasing. I'm curious if some of the other people building the apartments are too. But I like it. I mean, I think, you know, I'm 35 now, but at 25, I wish I wish some of the apartment properties that are available now were around then.
Right, lots of fun
nice
things.
Swimming pools, cool properties, like great way to meet people in Augusta.
Yep.
And so I am a big fan of it. And yeah, I hope to continue to see more nice properties like that come along.
The amenities and just that they're just being provided.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah. 25 single me, right across the river overlooking the baseball park.
Yep,
Oh,
yep.
that'd have been kick ass.
100%.
Oh
yeah.
man, that'd have been so much fun.
Right. That's yes. Right. I mean, absolutely. And so that, to me, I think that's cool to see that Augusta has that to offer. And same thing where, I mean, there's other parts of town with great neighborhoods that have great things to offer. I'm not just a proponent of high density. I'm just a proponent of people looking at Augusta that live out of town. They're like, wow, look at this. The baseball stadium, the housing, the restaurants, all of it. Augusta has a lot to offer.
It makes like ATC. I think ATC's developing that one right over there, like that way.
Yep, on Green Street.
Yep, on Green Street. So I'm excited to see what that's going to look like.
Me too.
So real quick, do we have any questions from the Facebook portal? We have one. Has one more than I was expecting.
Uh-oh.
Who is Paul's favorite client?
Ooh,
Who's Paul's favorite client?
That's a dangerous question.
Who's that from? I wonder if it's somebody I know.
I think that's the question. Just trying to quiz you.
I absolutely like all of our clients so much, especially the ones that watch this on Facebook. Peter Franklin, he is a great client.
Oh,
he's
Pete.
a great client and a great
Also
friend.
wrote Pablo.
Pablo, yep, he and I went to school together, so that's he should probably be working right now instead of watching this. But no, I mean the great thing is we have a ton of great clients. I mean Peter's a friend; he lives in Augusta. We get to interact and talk about his properties. We honestly have clients all over the world too, Matt, which is really cool.
Oh, really? Okay. How many countries?
I don't know. I would like to put this together, but so last week, we had somebody come to our office and she was wearing a military uniform. I was like, hey, you know, tell me your story really quick. And she was giving us her keys for her house to manage. And she goes, my husband and I are in the military and we're getting restationed somewhere. And she didn't tell me where she was going at first. And I was like, well, so where are you going? She's like, Hawaii. I'm like, oh, this is going to be great. Like, you know, let me know how that goes. And she was talking about how expensive it's going to be over there and stuff. But, like, you know, we're working with somebody in Hawaii that we'll get to interact with, send them their rent money every month. And, like,
Become very good friends with that person.
yeah, we've got people in Germany. I know that. We've got, I mean, just a lot of people. I would say, you know, 30% of our owners don't live in Georgia. And
Wow.
I would have never thought that either. But, yeah, just the people that we get to meet and talk to and, you know, manage their houses. It's a lot of fun. I like all the clients.
I love it. So let's get you off on this final question. We always ask every one of our guests.
Okay.
Some answer it better than the others. It's okay. It's
All right.
okay. So what is one thing you are extremely, I mean, pumped for, excited for the Augusta area in 2024?
What I am excited for in the Augusta area for 2024, I mean, honestly, I don't know if I have one answer for that because
Okay.
I think that Augusta has a lot going for it.
Mm-hmm.
And if there was only one thing to be excited about, I honestly wouldn't be excited about that. So,
That's a great answer.
yeah.
I
But-
really like that.
Right. I mean, but just examples of like, honestly, like this is the craziest thing. I'm excited that like they've changed the name to Fort Eisenhower and like just change is happening in Augusta and how well it's going too. I mean, they've changed every sign that said Fort Gordon to Fort Eisenhower and we were good at that.
I blinked.
Right? Yeah. And just, I mean, other things, I'm excited that there's a lot of people moving to Augusta to live here. That maybe is my actual answer, but I love Augusta. I think there's a lot of things going on and I am excited that there's people coming here to be a part of it.
I love it.
Whether they're going to buy a house, rent a hotel room for the night, whatever, I'm excited that everybody's coming to Augusta.
Perfect. So, Paul, I'm from the outside looking in. I want to work with you. How do I find you? How do I connect with you?
Go to our website, AugustaRentalHomes.net. Check us out. See what we have for rent. You can submit our information, your information there, and we'll give you a call. I mean, if you want to call and talk to me, you can. Text me, email me. Call my cell phone, 706-373-8333. I've never given my number out like that before. We'll see what happens.
First here.
Yeah, leave me a message. I'll call you back. I've got it set up. If it's an unknown number, it goes to voicemail. I will call you back, though. But, yeah, check out our website. I think that'd be the coolest thing because I get to talk to you about it, but honestly, I don't do a lot of the work. We've got a whole team of people, so you can go to our website and see all the people that we work with, what kind of houses we manage, and all the cool things we have there.
Awesome. That's awesome. Paul, appreciate you, buddy. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Once again, Paul Rush here. Hope you got some great information. We'll see you next time. Thanks for listening. And this has been another episode of the Market Shakers Podcast. If you like what you heard, please subscribe on the platform of your choice and do not forget to leave us a 5-star review. Once again, we'd like to thank all of our guests, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for listening.